Well, when I gave my maiden speech in Parliament, this was one of the issues I actually raised. I've seen in my own family, both my grandparents were diagnosed with terminal cancer, and towards both the end of their lives, they really did struggle with pain, and they were in a lot of discomfort. And both my grandparents said to me, independently of each other, that they wanted to choose when their lives ended, and to die with dignity. And that had a real powerful impact on me. And I've spoken to many families. I've had hundreds of letters and emails, as I'm sure Joe has, from residents with similar experiences. So I think really giving that choice to people at the end of their lives is really, really key for a compassionate society.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing, obviously, your own personal experience. But, you know, picking up on what the Bishop of Nottingham said, one of his concerns is that this law, if it was passed, would eventually go beyond those who are terminally ill. It's also something that disability campaigners like Liz Carr, for example, have voiced concerns over. You know, we've seen that happen in Canada, so couldn't that happen here?
So I totally understand concerns like that. The situation would be different here because in Canada there wasn't any legislation. The law in Canada evolved because of case law, because of common law. In this country, we're seeking to bring in primary legislation. We're having a debate in Parliament this week, which will set the structures in place to ensure that there is a really tightly drawn bill that you have to have a terminal diagnosis with only 6 months left to live. You have all the safeguards of having 2 independent doctors sign that off, plus judicial oversight. So, and I agree about the palliative care. My own grandparents, they had great support from Macmillan cancer nurses during their final days. But I think as a compassionate society, we should be looking at investing in more in palliative care, but also obviously in our health service. I believe they're not independently exclusive. I think we have to do both. And if that requires more money and investment in that, then so be it.
And, you know, MPs are thinking about this personally, but how open would you be to amendments to the bill?
Well, I hope it does pass the second reading. Even those MPs that are unsure at the moment, I hope they will vote for it on Friday, because that will ensure we have a proper debate at committee stage about those amendments. As the bill is drawn, the time period is a 6-month diagnosis. Now, many members may have a different view on that. They may believe 4 months is more appropriate. But we can have that debate at committee stage, and those kind of amendments can go through. And I have an open mind. I have a genuine open mind to those amendments. But I believe the bill that Kim's drafted as written is quite tightly defined to ensure those safeguards are in place. Say that this debate was had 10 years ago. So the House of Commons considered this issue 10 years ago. It was rejected 10 years ago. There's been an ongoing debate over the last 10 years on this issue. Many of the people that opposed it 10 years ago used palliative care as a reason why they should vote it down then. Have those same people been campaigning for increased funding in palliative care in the meantime? I think to some extent it can be a bit of a smokescreen. I do agree with Joe, though, that more time to debate it would be helpful, but this was debated 10 years ago and it's been going on for a very long time.